What is the rarest thing in your house, near you right now? My grandfather's union watch. He received it after being a member of a tradesman's union for 50 years. He passed away nearly 20 years ago. I can't wait to give the watch to my son one day. Could you post a picture of it? I'm a collector of watches and I might be able to give you some information on it, if you want. I want to see it too. An original steering wheel from a 1959250 GT California Ferrari. I've got a steering wheel to a 1955 300 SL Gullwing Benz. I love the internet. A couple of 1950s steering while having folks just found each other like it's our average hobby. Makes me smile. I just got this and it's under my bed. https:// Imager.com, NinXQTV. JPEG. It's Spider-Man #1 comic. I have a first issue of Shazam when he was named Shazam and an issue 2, 3 and 5 of She-Hulk. Also have limited issue prints of Venom Lethal Protector in holographics and signed by Sam Diller. Rosa. A quilt made by Mimo Monsieur. Wholesome rare item smiley face. A uniform worn in the recording of an episode of Red Dwarf, Hollership. Holy sh*, very proud of it. I got it years ago when the props company did a charity auction on eBay. I own galley proofs of The Old Man and the Sea, by Hemingway. They were sent to editors before it was first published in Life magazine. Unite, a math textbook from the 1800s. Wow, this would be really cool to see the differences from then to now. You have any pictures? How did you acquire it? It's actually exactly the same as any modern university textbook. They've just been randomly rearranging the pages containing exercises and assignment questions for over 2 centuries, so they can print a new edition every year. I have some first edition Hemingways, and some first edition Stephen Kings. And old gaming console, a Samoan war club that has been passed down in our family for over 1,000 years. Real question, wouldn't carbon dating tell you how old the material is? How would carbon dating tell you how long the material has been in club format? Carbon dating actually tells you how long ago a plant-based material stopped living and therefore stopped incorporating new carbon from the environment. And it is probably a good assumption that the dead tree was turned into the club near the time of the tree's death. 1923 Babe Ruth signed baseball. The Great You're Killin' Me Smalls, an M1 Garand battle rifle that was carried on the beaches at D-Day. This reminds me of that Reddit thread where some idiot gave one up to the police to be destroyed, since he didn't know what to do with it. Sleep safe knowing that the 2 M1s I own are safe and secure. Reading about people destroying or turning in historical guns makes me want to scream, monsieur. I remember seeing a video where some stupid asshole melted down the grandfather's World War II 1911 to make art that killed a small piece of me inside. A brick from Eminem's childhood home. What does it really matter which brick it is? My violin. It was made in Europe in 1829, and is a counterfeit Postachini. It was never passed down through my family. I bought it in 2014 from violin dealer. Lol, violin dealer. I can imagine a person in an alleyway opening his coat and asking if you wanna buy a violin. You're actually not far off the mark. There's a lot of money in antique violins and as such there are many shady dealers around. A first edition of Tolkien's The Silmarillion. My mother's documents from Nazi Germany proving she has Aryan blood. That is interesting. I have a Michael Jackson Thriller outfit Barbie. I have a 1973 Triumph GT6 in my garage, patiently awaiting me to restore it or sell it to someone who will. That year, there were 2,500 of them sold in America. It's pretty rare now. I've got my eye on a 1 of 96 vehicle I've just spotted lazily listed on Auto Trader for sale at a buy here pay here lot 700 miles away from me. I'm afraid if I poke the bear too hard, they'll know they've got something special on their hands. Its siren song is getting louder every day. 10mm socket, check again. Surely you've lost it since you posted this. A giant-sized Star Wars #1 comic from 1977. It's in terrible shape because I've had to move so many times, often with little warning, but it's still pretty cool to own. My dad bought it before I was born. The raw steak I have marinating in the fridge. Came here to mention the venison we are processing in my garage right now. A pin given to me by the actor who played one of Griff's bionic goons in Back to the Future 2. The blonde female one specifically. The pin is a picture of the design on her hoverboard in the movie. A sort of long orange question mark thing between two red stripes. Could you post a picture? This is a McDonald's Hot Wheel that was won in 2,500. My Great Dane. She's 11 3/4 of a year old, which in a breed with a life expectancy of between 8 and 10 years makes her fairly rare. She sounds pretty great, so it's a pretty common item in itself, but I have a cradle and a chest that my grandpa handmade and then drove 2,300 miles to deliver to me. Probably my 1812 2-cent coin. I was coming here to say my 1950s wheat penny, but that sounds a lot less impressive now. I lost it anyway. My kid found a wheat penny in his change. For 3 whole minutes he had me convinced it was worth $13,000. Then I looked closer, it's worth about $6. On my desk is a Roman coin minted when Claudius first became emperor. It's not worth much money, but it's kinda rare. I commented very much the same. I keep a Roman coin in my pocket. Last Xmas, my husband got me a handful of bronze artifacts from a legionnaire's grave, 3 arrowheads, a brooch, and a buckle from a Pugio's hardware. Awesome stuff. I have a knitted blanket that my great-great-grandmother made. What makes it extra special is that my grandmother was in and out of foster care in the inner city. So the fact that she managed to hold on to it while being shuffled from home to home is amazing. Me, cause I'm the only one of me. I was expecting this one, a knife from 1893. 74 Fender Jazz bass. A $3 bill with Obama's picture on it. Reminds me of Story. A cashier accepted a $200 bill with Bush's face on it. Precision lock musket I got from inheritance. My grandpa had some of the weirdest shit imaginable. I collect vintage teapots and kettles. One of my favorites is an old cow-shaped kettle from the 50s. My great-grandpa's shaving kit. All high-quality stuff from the 30s, maybe even older. I have almost every National Geographic magazine printed until 2008. I'm sure that it's fairly rare. My grandfather has gotten every single one since the 60s, and he's still getting them this year. Has the entire collection in the garage. American flag that was flown in a Black Hawk in Iraq. There are actually a ton of these, but it's irreplaceable to me, as I was also in the helicopter. Not just any old Black Hawk, but your Black Hawk. An ashtray shaped like a sitting, laying skeleton with a cigar in the mouth and small spaces between its ribs to hold cigarettes. It's awesome. Pic, please. I'll upload it in the morning. Americium, a dust, which could kill you if inhaled. Edit. I cannot splur. This guy kills people. I have a turquoise and coral silver squash blossom necklace that was my grandmother's. Squash blossom necklaces in and of themselves are not rare, but supposedly, no two are alike. Dog tag from 89. Still have it with me every day. If I had to guess, my CZ82, an heirloom steamer trunk from the early 1800s. My copy of British Economic Growth, 1270 to 1870, by Stephen Broadberry, et al. It's exactly as dry as it sounds. 500 pages economic data. I got it to work on a simulation and it ended up being very interesting. Woolly mammoth bone. Peace and quiet. 1968 Omega Seamaster 145. I have an entire shelf in my linen closet of quilts, placemats, napkins, pillowcases, and duvet covers made by my mother. She makes gorgeous quilts and the placemats she makes me are all personalized. I have one set of placemats that are Star Trek themed, fruits and vegetables, owls, and frogs. Radioactive dinner plate, meteor, autographed gallery proof of a book I helped shadow write for a rich man. We gamed it to the bestsellers list. Various originals. Nothing worth terribly much. My lovely wife. Probably the original Pong home console in my room that my dad played when he was a kid in the late 60s, early 70s. A will to that went from 0 to 100 pretty quick. AV to HDMI converter. Said rare not imaginary. I'm working in a library and not far from me is a Breeches Bible, Geneva Bible from 1589. My kitten actually sleeping and not running around freaking out, but if you mean objects, I have a rare pre-World War II Signet special wooden clarinet. They stopped making them around 1955, but they had a reappearance in the 60s. It's rare to find a pre-war one. My dad got it for me as a gift for going on to high school. He got it off of eBay from a seller who had found it in his attic. $80 plus ship. My dad found out it was actually worth over $800 because it was pretty rare. It's still in wonderful condition. A bunch of teachers and director always commented on how lovely and smooth the sound was. I don't play anymore, but I'm keeping it in good condition for my stepdaughter. She's playing my first clarinet, and if she sticks to it I may think of letting her play it. It's always held a special place in my heart. My dad doesn't put much thought into gifts, and him wanting to get me a nice wooden clarinet really touched me. I cried when I saw it. It's still very beautiful and I can tell why it's so valuable. They seriously don't make them like they used to.